As much as I was enjoying my engine ring's cheesy snacks, and that was a great deal, since I'd just discovered them on a human-run space station, it wasn't so much of a distraction that I didn't notice worried voices as I walked past the cockpit. I paused in the doorway to see Wio in her chair, tentacles adjusting the controls with nervous speed, while Kavli stood and pointed at one of the displays. I had no idea what that screen showed, but the two pilots sure seemed to, and it didn't look good. "Are you sure it's organic?" Wio was asking. "It has to be," Kavli said, head frills flaring. "I've never seen this kind of reading on anything else, not even new technology." Wio muttered something unintelligible, tapping buttons and turning dials. She didn't react when I folded my bag of crunchy snacks and shoved it in a pocket. I leaned into the room. "Is something wrong?" Kavli looked up at that, the picture of blue-skin concern. "Possibly," she admitted. "Dangerous at any rate. I was making a final sweep for the end of my shift, and I think I found a fresh wormhole." I waited for more information, but didn't get any. "Why is that bad?" "Because it clearly wasn't made with any technology I've seen," Kavli said, with a melodramatic sweep of a hand. "There are organic traces and rough edges. This is fresh." Before I could repeat my question, Wio chimed in. "And a fresh wormhole might mean the worm is still around, among other things." I said. Apparently my earthbound education about space travel had missed a key point. I did not know wormholes are made by actual worms. I thought people built them. Or they just happen? "People do build them," Wio said. She finished messing with the controls and twisted her tentacles around each other. "And the way they just happen is because of the space worms, which we don't want to get anywhere near." Kavli waved me forward. "You've got good color vision, right? See if anything long and wiggly shows up on these scans. It'll be subtle. They're probably in deep." I stepped up to the row of small screens under the main one, full of questions. Deep in what? Hyperspace? Why do we want to avoid them? Are they predatory? Or territorial? Or easily startled? The main screen just showed the usual stars, but the little ones were a riot of charts and diagrams. Kavli pointed at the one that was an incomprehensible swirl of yellow and green. "Yes, hyperspace," Wio said. "They're not predatory," Kavli said with certainty. "Well, how do we know?" Wio countered. "There have been studies," Kavli said. "They eat the fabric of space-time itself, not spaceships." "What about the chewy center of those spaceships?" Wio retorted. "There have been studies," Kavli insisted. Part of the green image did look a little wormy. I wondered whether I should interrupt, not sure if I was imagining it. Then I remembered Eggskin the Medic's offhand comment on how good human eyesight was in picking out shades of green, just like edible versus non-edible plants back home. Maybe the two pilots really couldn't see something that I could. "Is that—" I started. "Anyways, it's not the space worms you need to worry about," Wio spoke over me. "It's the space molars that follow." The universe has perfect timing, because that was the moment a clear green line appeared on the chart, straight as an arrow and moving fast. Kavli squeaked, pointing at the screen. Wio made a popping noise that I recognized as a swear word, and pressed several buttons at once. A snake-like shape the color of starlight erupted into sight on the main screen, glowing as it curled back down a brand new wormhole right in front of our ship, which stopped in its tracks, all three of us yelling in surprise. But that was nothing compared to the enormous black shape that clawed its way out of the starfield in hot pursuit. It was a different shade of black from the void of space, but I couldn't say which. All I made out in that adrenaline-filled moment was claws, teeth, and terrifyingly large. We screamed in 3 different octaves as the ripples in space hit the ship, rocking it even with the artificial gravity. I heard something crash down the hall. Other people were yelling. They didn't matter. The space mole really was going after the worm, not us. It plowed back down into the surface of reality, digging it away that shouldn't have been possible. And it was so fast. The mole disappeared with one last kick of a barely seen foot or tail or something else. The starfield rippled and shook like the surface of a pond. I realized I was clutching the back of Weo's chair. Alarms were going off on the console. After a moment in which nothing else jumped out at us, I managed to convince my fingers to let go. Cavalier collapsed into her own chair. The little screen was calm yellow. Without a word, Weo changed our course to somewhere presumably safer. Running footsteps sounded in the hall, leading to a traffic jam of concern in the doorway. All tentacles and frills and very wide eyes. A calm but stern voice cut through the chatter. The crowd parted to let Captain Sunlight through, every inch the level-headed and unflappable role model, who wasn't about to let some turbulence and screaming rattle her. She was wiping what looked like orange soup off one yellow-scaled hand, but she did it with dignity. "What happened?" she asked. I answered first. "Space worm and a space mole." "Really?" the captain said, while the hallway exploded into conversation. "They almost hit us," Cavalier exclaimed, waving arms and frills from where she sat slumped in her chair. "Any damage?" Captain Sunlight asked. "Nope," Weo said, with surprising cheer. "And I have better news." She manipulated the controls some more, then sat back as a framed image appeared in the middle of the main screen. "I got a recording." Everyone exclaimed about that while the captured footage played. I was torn between watching it again because it was amazing, and watching the little yellow screen for more hints of green. I tried to do both. "Well done," Captain Sunlight said. "I know just the scientists to give first shot at that recording, and knowing them, this may end up in a very lucrative bidding war. You just make sure to get us to our destination safely." "Absolutely, Captain," Weo said, with a twirl of a tentacle. "I will keep a close eye on all the readouts." "I'll help," I volunteered. Eyeing a suspicious green tinge that was probably nothing. "I will take a nap," Cavalier declared. "Then come back early." Weo waved her toward the crowded doorway. "Take your time. You'll need some rest after that. Don't worry. We'll scream if there's anything important." "I'll remind you that we do have an intercom," said the captain dryly. I replied, "Screaming's faster." Weo said at the same time, "We'll scream over the intercom if there's anything important." Captain Sunlight huffed in amusement. "Of course you will. Right, everyone else go check the ship for damaged items. Moore, help Mimi in the engine room. Paint, go with Eggskin. Medbay first, then kitchen." She rattled off more assignments to make sure all the important rooms were looked into. Then she ushered everyone on their way, and headed back to whatever she'd been doing. Probably cleaning up spilled soup. With a glance at Weo, I took Cavalier's chair, hands folded carefully in my lap. The snacks in my pocket crinkled. I left them there. I wasn't about to make a mess in the cockpit, nor would I touch a single thing. But that yellow and green swirl? Ooh, I will be watching that very carefully.